Coached by the Curé, Lessons in Shepherding with St. John Vianney by Kevin Wells. An excerpt from Chapter 1, The Dialogue of the Saints. God remained silent, allowing Philomena's words to settle deep in the souls of the priest saints. After a period of silence, the little lioness explained, "Before we exchange thoughts on the Curé's task, we must discuss what led these faithful disciples to kneel in looming despair before the Curé's heart, and what has led myriads of both young and wearied Catholic souls to leave the faith." The priest saints squared their shoulders, nodding like infantrymen readying for war. In heaven, each come to regard Philomena as a gladiator. Each of us stood in silence, deferring to the martyr pope. Yet Peter too remained mute. He knew that Philomena's presence and words would set the stage for what had remained, until now, an unspoken topic in paradise: the piecemeal re-engineering and softening of the ministerial priesthood. God nodded at the wonder worker. Then Philomena spoke once again. Never in Christendom's history do faithful parents and sincere followers of Christ lament as they do today. Their mournful symphony rises to heaven like the incense of the dead. The Church in the West has failed in her mandate to kill the wolf of modernism Pope Pius X warned of more than a century ago. Satan has used the gap in the wall to chase legions of children into thick woods of confusion, where their power to reason is met by a gauntlet of modern educators who lead them astray. Relativists, entertainers, Marxists, Luciferians, pagans, and the like. Even the young ones who've managed to escape are awash in a septic current which has flooded their often unformed souls. But it is not only children and adolescents who suffer beneath the weight of the culture. Many adults, too, have lost the power of reason. Countless millions of them do not pray. We do not speak of it in heaven, but the sexual revolution and sexual identity crisis are killing souls. Although the demons steal souls through modern technological devices, many parents give them to their children as unlimited use toys, which befoul their tender souls in the fashion of Ouija boards. The martyr paused and chill filled the space. God's eyes had become fiery orbs. The priest saints and I looked down at heaven's floor, afraid of his countenance. But Philomena stood erect and sympathetically studied the Father's face. We dared to lift our heads when a rumbling began to shake the heavens, and we beheld paradise bathed in a red light that stretched as far as we could see. The wisdom in Peter's quiet deference was silently admired by the priest saints and me. Philomena's plain-spokeness established the tone of our dialogue and shaped the words of my letter. God turned to me and looked at me with tender expectation before looking to Philomena once more. "Priest," she exclaimed, "when these parents cry out for their children, when these lonely and discouraged faithful cry out for their families, friends, and neighbors, they cry for Jean-Marie. They want a man willing to give away his life, like a log meant for the fire. Yet too many priests have chosen their own comfort over the fight." The brave-hearted child paused, her eyes flashing. "As priests, each of you embraced your vocation in the trenches of spiritual warfare. You understood comfort was a form of corruption, and you fought it off ruthlessly, as if it was Satan himself." The priest titans nodded uniformly as heaven's blaze began to soften, shifting to the violet hue that lights the underside of clouds at the close of day. Through his Old Testament beard, St. Colby spoke with a voice that sounded like a tremor, and quoting scripture, "When I was a child, I used to talk as a child, think as a child, reason as a child. When I became a man, I put aside childish things." Paul's words have been ignored by many of today's modern bishops and priests. Instead of embracing their victimhood, too many cling to frequent social outings, social media streams, choice wines, evenings at expensive restaurants, and various forms of non-religious entertainment. Many, too, frequently bow their heads to technology and take extended vacations without their clerical clothes and Roman collar, where they reside in luxurious accommodations. On weekdays, too many choose to sleep in rather than nourishing their early rising workaday flock with an early mass. I watched the priest saints lower their head. No one dared to speak, fearing the martyr had spoken too plainly. Each feared looking into the face of God, and still God remained silent. The leper broke the silence. Severity lay heavy in his eyes. Father Colby is not a prophet of doom. His words are precise. It has gone unmentioned in paradise, but few bishops and priests enter into the crucifixion of self their priesthood demands. Because of the cost, many will not embrace the kenosis they promised to God at ordination. They once knew their calling was to strip themselves of worldly comforts, but so few do. St. Francis de Sales spoke in a measured but direct manner. It is true. Many rarely offer their flock the opportunity to have their sins absolved. On this point, Jean-Marie is seen by many to have been a maniac whose confessional became his splintered home for 4 decades. His marathon days of cleansing souls in his confessional wasn't priestly mania, but rather a demonstration of love. The holy missionary from Bohemia, John Newman, spoke hesitantly. Yes, because the Curé was a mortified man, stripped of comforts, his inner eye was honed to see penitent's hidden or unknown sins, whereby he could work to purge and uproot them. Many priests will not purify themselves by entering this mortified life, or even offer a fast once a week. Accordingly, their comfort blurs their inner eye and blunts their desire to comfort, or even notice, the devil's malice. And it must be said, the holy Bishop de Sales added, the root of the crisis is that many modern clergy are not devoted to prayer. Without this intimate union with Christ, they cannot even see the starved man of the cross, nor fully receive the blood he pours out for them. As the Curé saw in Robespierre's Judas priests, too many of today's priests have genuflected to the world. No one spoke, and God remained silent.